What's up, you guys? It's Royce Jacob, and welcome back to another members exclusive video. In this one, we're going to keep it short and sweet. We're going to keep it macro, and we are going to look at the US dollar index, or the DXY, the S&P500, or the SPY, and the Nasdaq100, or the QQQs. We are seeing some blood today. Everything, pretty much every ticker symbol on my watch list, except for Veritone, is selling off. And I want to talk about how far I think things fall in the week ahead. Okay, and taking a look at the DXY, the S&P500, and the NASDAQ, I feel just from a super bird's eye view perspective is the best way to do that. And it could give us an inclination as to how far some other names in other videos that I'm about to record, Tesla, Palantir, Riot, most growth stocks, will fall in the near future as well. Okay, particularly the NASDAQ, but I'll explain that once we get there. So, when Santa rallies like this fail, and I'll say this in the Palantir and Tesla video as well, when Santa rallies fail, like what we're seeing now, it typically, or I shouldn't say typically, well, I guess, yeah, typically, historically leads to a January that is negative, and specifically talking about the S&P 500. So, S&P 500, NASDAQ had a pretty record-breaking year. Santa rally is failing. A lot of individuals are going to wait to take profits until January 1st when it cycles to the next tax year. At least that's my guess when it comes to these overextended names. And yeah, that just leads me to believe that we will be seeing more blood ahead. Okay, and as always, I know you guys are, don't want to scroll down too far. I know you guys, for the most part, are members of the newsletter portfolio group. If not, if you want the daily newsletters like this, if you want full access to my complete portfolio and daily newsletter, then join the team. First link in the description below. $15 a month, $40 for every 3 months. It's completely up to you if you choose to join. I'm expecting another winning year for Waves Cap on the horizon. Yeah, welcome to the team if you do. If not, no worries. DXY is like objectively in breakout mode. Okay, we broke this line of long-term resistance here, rallied higher, came back down to test it in early December, earlier this month, and since then we are just continuing this series of higher highs and higher lows within this shorter-term ascending channel. From here, the most bullish case is that the DXY climbs up to test the line of shorter-term resistance on, once again, this, I guess this isn't really short-term resistance because this ascending channel has been in place since October, but this line of shorter-term resistance as opposed to this massive macro megaphone channel, that would result in, a 112 plus DXY, and that target just keeps getting exponentially higher with time. Okay, so what I think is more likely, where I think the rally could really stall for the DXY, and keep in mind the reason we look at the DXY is because for the most part today it's red, not too red though, definitely not compared to the major indexes or indices. When the DXY goes up, typically it definitely like gold, silver, Bitcoin, anything that trades against the dollar, which is pretty much everything, especially in this macroeconomic climate, is likely to go down. Okay, when the dollar is more valuable, it innately makes things less valuable. Okay, so I do think the DXY climbs. I do think we make our way up to the top end of this megaphone channel. That would result in like a 2 to 2.5% climb in the first couple of weeks of January. And I think that, over the next at least 1 to 2 weeks, we do sell off. I know the inauguration is coming up. That could act as a positive catalyst, but I think a lot of that's been priced in. Ultimately, I think the dollar climbs over the next week or two, and I think the major indexes pull back over the next week or two. It could be shorter lived, but things are just so overextended that I think it's time for a pretty meaningful correction here. Okay, so the S&P 500, you can see here, has dipped back below the line of support here. You could say that this is the line of support, but I'm not buying that. I'm calling this the line of support on this ascending channel. We've broken it, we've retested it, been rejected. I think that at the very least, the S&P 500 falls 3% from current levels. We're at 595, and I do think we close this gap here at just about 577. So I think we fall at least 3%, with the worst case scenario over these next couple of weeks being a test of this line of long-term support right here. We could even bring it up a little bit, like right there, just to be a little more conservative, and that would result in, if we come in line with this pullback target I've had for a while, No, it's a little kind of a stretch. Ultimately, if we test this line of long-term resistance, that would result in about a 4% pullback for the S&P 500 by January 10th. And as always, the These price targets are completely dependent upon when the trend lines are tested. NASDAQ100 maintaining levels right above this line of support, but I'm really not buying this either. I do think that we just see another wave to the downside. I think that this was a dead cat bounce similar to, again, Tesla and Palantir, which we're about to look at. And I think we get another wave down. I think the NASDAQ falls 4%, similar to the SPY. Over the next week or two, test this line of previously broken. You can see here, this looks a little more. Yeah. So NASDAQ did have this line of support in play, broke above it, has yet to retest it as a new low, or broke above this line of resistance, has yet to retest it as new supports, and that is going to be my target for the NASDAQ, and that will likely be when, because that'll probably align with some of the other put positions I have or some of the other short plays, just some of the other downside targets I have for other stocks, as many of you would know, Tesla, Palantir. That is a good inclination as to when the market could overall bottom. Again, it's entirely possible also that we just keep falling because, you know, it feels like things have been really overextended for a long time. And there's a lot of very bullish macro arguments to be made with the new Trump presidency. But, you know, you never know. Just be cautious. It's entirely possible that we fall even further than this. So just keep some put options on deck. Stay safe out there. Appreciate you watching. Looking forward to recording this Tesla Palantir video, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace, guys.